I was like, damn. But then after a couple sessions, I'm like, I don't know if it's helping or getting worse because now
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the heartfelt and inspiring journey of 1000 Del B. Sisters star Amy Slaton, a woman who's been through heartbreak, transformation, and now a brand new chapter filled with love, laughter, and second chances. From reality TV fame to motherhood and finding love again. Amy's life has been nothing short of emotional and unpredictable. Let's take a look at how she went from struggling wife to strong single mom and now a woman rebuilding her world with her new fiancé, Brian Levern. When Amy Slaton first appeared on 1000 Del B Sisters back in 2020, she was just a small-town Kentucky girl with a big heart and even bigger dreams. Alongside her sister Tammy, Amy wanted to share her weight loss journey, open up about her struggles, and maybe inspire others fighting the same battles. At the start, fans instantly fell in love with Amy's personality, her humor, her honesty, and her kindness. She wasn't pretending to be perfect. She was just being herself, raw, funny, and full of hope. Life hadn't been easy for Amy. Growing up in Kentucky, she faced financial struggles, emotional challenges, and years of feeling misunderstood. But there was always one dream that kept her going, the dream of building her own family, surrounded by love and peace. That dream seemed to come true when she married her longtime sweetheart, Michael Halterman. They had known each other since high school, childhood friends who grew up together, fell in love, and promised to build a life side by side. When Amy walked down the aisle, it felt like the beginning of her happily ever after. And for a while, it really was. In 2020, Amy gave birth to her first son, Gage Dion. The world watched as she held her newborn for the first time, tears of joy streaming down her face. A year later, she welcomed her second child, Glenn Allen, and suddenly, Amy was living the dream she had always wanted, 2 beautiful boys and a family of her own. But behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they looked. The demands of motherhood, filming schedules, and everyday responsibilities began to weigh heavily on her. Amy felt exhausted, overwhelmed, and unsupported. While she adored her children, she struggled to keep up with the chaos that came with being a mom of 2. Unfortunately, the strain also took a toll on her marriage. Arguments with Michael became frequent. The laughter that once filled their home turned into silence and tension. Amy often said she felt like she was raising her kids alone, doing all the housework, childcare, and emotional labor, while Michael seemed detached. The woman who once radiated joy was slowly fading behind stress and exhaustion. After months of trying to make things work, Amy realized she couldn't stay in a relationship that made her feel trapped. She decided to prioritize her own happiness and her children's well-being by walking away. It was one of the hardest choices she'd ever made. The divorce wasn't easy, especially with cameras watching and fans speculating. But Amy stood her ground. She wanted to show her kids that strength sometimes means letting go. For a while, she focused solely on healing, spending time with her boys, rediscovering her independence, and learning to smile again. Her followers watched as she slowly rebuilt her confidence, sharing sweet mom moments on social media and leaning on her family for support. Then, when she least expected it, love found her again. Amy met Brian Levern and everything changed. Unlike the spotlight and chaos she was used to, Brian brought calmness into her life. He wasn't chasing fame or attention. He was simply a good man, patient, kind, and genuinely devoted to Amy and her boys. The connection was instant. Within weeks, Amy was glowing again, smiling in photos, posting cute moments and showing a side of herself fans hadn't seen in years. Her followers noticed the difference right away. One commented, "You look truly happy again, Amy." And they were right. Brian quickly became a strong, steady presence, not only for Amy, but for Gage and Glenn too. He helped with school routines, bedtime, and playtime. He wasn't just there for Amy, he was there for the boys too. In interviews and fan interactions, Amy often praised Brian for stepping up and helping her feel supported in ways she hadn't before. She once even joked with fans saying, "I'm not a single mom anymore. Brian's my partner in crime now." That bond grew stronger over time, and by season 7 of 1000 Delby Sisters, Brian had officially proposed. The couple decided to get married on Halloween, a date that fits perfectly with Amy's fun and quirky personality. They've even started planning a spooky-themed wedding that fans are already dying to see. They also moved into a new home together, a cozy, laughter-filled space for their growing family. Amy has shared photos of decorating the rooms, arranging the kids' toys, and turning the house into a warm, welcoming space. Then, in May 2025, Amy surprised everyone with another big announcement. She posted a video with Brian on TLC's official page, smiling from ear to ear and holding something tiny in her hands. "Hi, it's Amy and Brian and baby," she said playfully. Fans went wild in the comments, assuming she had just welcomed a third child. But in true Amy fashion, she had a hilarious twist to reveal. Their baby was actually a pet snake. Amy laughed and said, "Our baby, this is the only baby you're going to have." It was a fun, lighthearted moment that perfectly captured her goofy, lovable nature. The video received over 16,000 likes, with thousands of fans commenting their congratulations, not just for the snake, but for how happy Amy seemed. After years of heartache, she was glowing with peace and laughter again. One of the most heartwarming things about Amy's new chapter is how involved Brian has become in her children's lives. He helps with chores, plans fun outings, and often picks out the kids' clothes. In June 2025, Amy proudly posted a photo of little Glenn dressed by Brian with the caption, "Glenn, show off the outfit Brian put on you." She added, "He's so excited." Just a week earlier, Amy shared another sweet family moment, a photo of her, Brian, and her sons enjoying ice cream together. In the picture, Amy held on to her youngest tightly, smiling at the camera as fans flooded the comments with messages of love and support. But what about Michael, Amy's ex-husband and the father of her children? Despite everything that happened, Amy has made sure that Michael remains part of the boys' lives. She wants them to know and love their father. In response to a fan who asked if Michael still sees the kids, Amy replied simply, "He gets them half the week." That one sentence shows Amy's commitment to healthy co-parenting. However, she has also admitted it's not always easy. In one post, Amy confessed, "I'm not always around to monitor what they eat," expressing concern about the kids' diet when they're with Michael. But even with those challenges, she continues to show respect and maturity when it comes to co-parenting. Michael, on the other hand, has chosen to stay out of the spotlight. He doesn't post on Instagram anymore, and there are no recent photos of him with his kids online. It seems he prefers privacy now that he's no longer part of the show, and Amy respects that choice. Meanwhile, Amy continues to share small glimpses of her family life with fans. One of her funniest and most relatable posts came when she admitted she sometimes can't tell her sons apart because Gage and Glenn look so much alike. Amy said it gets tricky on days when they wear matching outfits. Fans loved her honesty, calling her the most real mom on reality TV. It's moments like these, small, silly, and real, that remind fans why they fell in love with Amy in the first place. She's open about her struggles, honest about her emotions, and never afraid to laugh at herself. Of course, not everyone online has been kind. Some fans have criticized Amy for her weight gain, or questioned her relationship with Brian, claiming she moved on too fast. But others have rushed to defend her, reminding everyone that happiness doesn't always follow a perfect timeline. Through it all, Amy has handled criticism with grace. She knows what matters most, her children's happiness and her peace of mind. Today, Amy Slaton is a woman transformed. She's gone from a heartbroken mother trying to hold everything together to a confident woman standing proudly in her new life. Her days are filled with laughter, family time, and the kind of love she once only dreamed of. Her fans often comment that she seems lighter, not just in weight, but in spirit. There's a glow in her eyes again, a sense of calm, a sense of joy. With her fiancé Brian by her side, Amy's story feels like it's come full circle, but with a brand new ending this time. She's found love that supports her, a partner who lifts her up, and a family that feels whole. And as she prepares for her Halloween wedding, Fans can't wait to see her walk down the aisle again, not as the same Amy from 2020, but as a woman who's stronger, wiser, and finally free. Because Amy Slaton's journey isn't just about weight loss or reality TV fame. It's about survival, growth, and the courage to start over. It's about proving that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you can still rise and build something beautiful from the pieces. So here's to Amy, the mother, the fighter, the survivor, and now the bride-to-be. She's living proof that happiness doesn't come from perfection. It comes from choosing yourself, embracing your flaws, and surrounding yourself with people who truly care. Her story reminds us all that it's never too late to rewrite your ending, and that sometimes the most beautiful chapters come after the storm.
To be small enough to fit on the ride again.
When you go around, you're going to shoot all these black and yellow targets out here in the field.
Amy Slaton, the heart of 1,000 Delby sisters. What began as a story of two sisters fighting to take back control of their lives has now become a powerful journey of rebirth, redemption, and maybe a few secrets along the way. Let's begin. When Amy Slaton first appeared on 1,000 Delby Sisters, she captured hearts across the world with her bubbly energy, goofy humor, and emotional honesty. Fans saw a woman determined to change, not just physically, but emotionally. She wanted more than fame. She wanted family, love, and a future. Back in 2020, Amy underwent bariatric surgery after years of struggling with obesity. It was a turning point that changed everything. With hard work and persistence, Amy lost over 120 pounds. That transformation gave her something even more precious than her health. It gave her motherhood. Amy's dream had always been to become a mom. She married her longtime sweetheart, Michael Halterman. In 2019, their love story was one that started in high school. Two small-town Kentucky kids who thought love would fix everything. Together, they welcomed two beautiful boys, Gage Dion and Glenn Allen. For a while, it seemed like Amy finally had it all. But sometimes, dreams look perfect from the outside, until real life begins. As the cameras rolled, Amy's marriage started to crack. The stress of raising two children, filming reality television, and maintaining her new lifestyle became overwhelming. The cheerful laughter fans loved turned into exhaustion, arguments, and frustration. Amy felt alone, emotionally drained, and unsupported. Michael didn't share enough of the parenting load, and Amy often confessed she felt like a single mother, even when she wasn't. By 2023, Amy made one of the hardest decisions of her life. She filed for divorce. It was a painful chapter, but one that proved she valued peace over pretense. Her fans watched as she tried to rebuild, to heal, and to remember who she was beyond being a wife or a mom. And that's when Brian Levern entered her life, the man who would change everything again. Amy met Brian at a concert in the park in 2024. It wasn't love at first sight. In fact, Amy later joked that she wasn't even sure she liked him at first. But something about Brian's persistence and warmth drew her in. He wasn't famous. He wasn't chasing clout. He was real. Slowly, Amy opened her heart again. Within months, their bond grew strong enough to surprise even her closest friends. After only a few months of dating, Brian proposed, and he did it in a way that was so Amy. The proposal took place inside a haunted house in Henderson, Kentucky, surrounded by flickering lights, eerie music, and spooky decor. Brian got down on one knee with a Gothic-style ring shaped like skeleton hands forming a heart. Amy's eyes filled with tears, not of fear, but of joy, for someone who had been through heartbreak and public scrutiny. It was the start of a new chapter, one full of laughter, love, and second chances. Their shared love for the spooky and unusual became a signature part of their relationship. They adopted a pet snake together, playfully calling it their baby. They started planning a Halloween-themed wedding inside an old haunted asylum. It sounded wild, but also perfectly fitting for Amy's quirky personality. However, not everyone was celebrating. As Amy's romance with Brian unfolded, fans began to voice concerns. Many felt the relationship was moving too fast. Some pointed out red flags in Brian's behavior, while others worried that Amy was once again rushing into love without giving herself time to heal. But Amy didn't care about the noise. For the first time in years, she was smiling again, and that mattered more than the opinions of strangers. During 1000 Del B's Sisters Season 7, the dynamic between the sisters also began to shift. Tammy, once the one struggling most, became the show's unexpected success story. She lost over 500 pounds, underwent skin removal surgery, and seemed more confident than ever. Amy, on the other hand, faced criticism for gaining some weight back and for allegedly losing focus on her health journey. Online trolls were quick to point out the difference between the sisters. Tammy was being celebrated as a role model, while Amy was mocked for falling off track. The contrast was painful for Amy, especially as she tried to balance motherhood, her public image, and her relationship. Things escalated when Amy shared a lighthearted Instagram post about using coffee to dye fabric. Just a fun DIY moment. But one critic, Heather Nelly, left a snarky comment. "I'm going to remember these posts next season when she's staring at the camera saying, 'I don't have time to worry about my diet.'" Amy didn't stay silent. She clapped back calmly but firmly, writing, "I've been eating healthy lately." That short response said a lot. Amy wasn't making excuses anymore. She was taking responsibility quietly but powerfully. Behind the scenes, Amy was indeed trying to take control of her health again. She admitted that after her divorce, emotional eating had become a coping mechanism. The stress of single motherhood, internet judgment, and the constant cameras had taken a toll. But now, with Brian's support and a more balanced lifestyle, Amy had found her rhythm again. She began focusing on portion control, home-cooked meals, and mental wellness. Sources close to the show revealed that Amy has been trying to model better habits for her boys. Gage and Glenn, now both active toddlers, are her biggest motivation. As Amy once said, "I want to be the mom who can keep up with her kids." Her health journey may not be perfect, but it's real, and that's what makes it inspiring. Still, controversy seems to follow Amy wherever she goes. Some fans believe that her relationship with Brian has overshadowed her personal growth. Others worry she's repeating old mistakes, moving too fast, giving too much of herself too soon. But Amy doesn't seem to care about speculation. What matters to her now is family, stability, and self-acceptance. In mid-2025, rumors began swirling that Amy might have secretly married Brian off-camera. It all started when she shared a sweet post thanking a fan named Katie for buying her first piece of artwork. She wrote, "Thank you for buying some of my art from me." But what really caught everyone's eye was what she said next. "Be on the lookout for Amy Lover Creations." Fans quickly noticed she was using Brian's last name, Lover. That subtle detail fueled speculation that the two had already tied the knot in private. If true, it means Amy's long-awaited spooky wedding might have already happened quietly, away from the cameras. And honestly, can anyone blame her? After living her entire life on reality TV, maybe Amy just wanted one thing for herself, one moment that wasn't scripted or edited. However, keeping secrets comes with risks. Many viewers believe Amy's silence about her marital status might be due to her TLC non-disclosure agreement. Revealing such personal information could break her contract, which explains why she's staying vague. Meanwhile, Tammy reportedly disapproved of Amy's haunted Salem wedding idea. Tammy claimed the venue had dark energy and refused to attend. Whether Amy changed the location later to mend their relationship is still unknown, and fans can only guess that this drama will unfold in 1000 LB Sisters Season 8. Despite the chaos, Amy continues to share glimpses of her everyday life online, her art, her pets, her boys, and her coffee-filled mornings. There's something peaceful about her posts lately. She isn't chasing validation anymore. She's simply living. Our take. Amy Slaton has been through storms that most people wouldn't survive under the public eye, but she's still standing. She's faced internet cruelty, heartbreak, and body shaming, yet she keeps finding her way back to joy. Yes, she's gained some weight back. Yes, her relationship with Brian is controversial. But Amy has learned that happiness doesn't have to look perfect. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's unfiltered. But it's still happiness. Today, Amy Slaton is a woman who has learned from her past. She's not afraid to clap back at critics or to admit when she's struggling. She's focusing on being a better mom, a healthier woman, and an artist exploring her creative side. As for Brian, he remains a mystery to many fans. Some adore him, calling him Amy's redemption story. Others remain cautious, worried he may not be the partner she deserves. Only time will tell if their love story will stand the test of reality TV, public judgment, and life's challenges. For now, Amy seems genuinely content. Whether she's cooking dinner with her boys, sketching in her art room, or laughing at Brian's goofy jokes, there's a new calmness in her life, the kind that comes only after years of chaos. She once said, "I'm not perfect, but I'm trying, and that's all that matters." And truly, that's what makes Amy Slaton special. She's never tried to be flawless. She's tried to be real. So, as fans continue to speculate about her mysterious marriage, her next big project, or her evolving relationship with her sister Tammy, one thing remains certain: Amy Slaton is rewriting her story on her own terms. She may have started as a 1000 lb sister, but today, she's a woman who's proving that strength isn't measured in pounds lost, it's measured in battles survived. And Amy, she's survived plenty. From heartbreak to healing, from judgment to joy. Amy Slaton's journey reminds us that no matter how messy life gets, it's never too late to begin again. It's never too...
Have messed up, but that's not even the biggest problem right now. After all this weight loss,
After everything Amy Slaton has been through, the public heartbreak, the painful divorce, and the struggle to rebuild her life, fans can't help but worry that history might repeat itself. With Amy now preparing for marriage again, viewers fear that if things don't work out this time, the scars might cut even deeper than before. TLC's 1000 lb Sisters began as a story of two women trying to reclaim their lives, both physically and emotionally. When the show first aired, Amy weighed 406 pounds, and her sister Tammy weighed 608, together. The sisters carried more than half a ton, not just in physical weight, but in emotional burden. Each pound represented years of pain, disappointment, and the feeling of being trapped inside their own bodies. Over time, however, both sisters made tremendous progress. Through the tears, the setbacks, and the triumphs, viewers watched them slowly reclaim control over their lives. They both underwent gastric bypass surgery, a decision that changed not only their bodies, but also their sense of self-worth. And as their transformation unfolded, 1000 lb Sisters gave fans an intimate look into the entire Slaton family, from their brother Chris Combs. Two sisters, Amanda Halterman and Misty Slaton. It became more than a weight loss show. It became a story of love, loss, and family bonds that stretched far beyond the scale. But now that season 7 has wrapped up, the question everyone is asking is simple. What's next? Where do Amy and Tammy go now that their physical transformations are nearly complete? A journey beyond the scale, the finale of season 7 gave fans one of the most heartfelt moments of the entire series. In a nostalgic episode, the Slaton family piled into their van for a trip down memory lane. Together, they revisited the places that defined their early struggles. The old home where it all began, now demolished. And the junkyard where they used to weigh themselves because no regular scale could handle their combined weight. As the family took turns stepping on the industrial scale, emotions ran high. Amy weighed in at 249 pounds, a massive achievement, shedding over 150 pounds since the start of her journey. But the real jaw-dropper came from Tammy, who confidently stepped up and revealed her weight, 215 pounds. She had lost nearly 400 pounds, an accomplishment that seemed almost impossible back in season 1. In a touching family moment as they all weighed themselves together, Tammy smiled and said, "We're not the 1000 lb Sisters anymore. We're the 1000 lb family." It was a statement that captured how far they'd all come, not just in body, but in spirit. Will there be a season 8? With such a powerful conclusion, fans have begun to wonder if there's even a need for another season. According to Screen Rant, there are several reasons why 1000 lb Sisters might not return for season 8. Both Amy and Tammy's weight loss journeys have largely reached their goals. They've achieved what they set out to do, losing the weight, overcoming addiction, and finding peace within themselves. The drama that once surrounded their lives has quieted, replaced by stability and healing. But anyone who's followed the Slatons knows that their story is far from over. The show has always been more than a weight loss chronicle. It's a reflection of their evolving lives, their family ties, relationships, and the constant challenge of keeping the balance between fame, privacy, and personal growth. Even if the physical transformation is nearly complete, the emotional transformation continues. And now, Amy's new relationship with Brian Lover, her fiancé, and possibly new husband, it's reignited public interest in the Slaton sisters' next chapter. Amy's new beginning, Amy's relationship with Brian, has been the center of attention ever since she introduced him to fans. Their love story began at a local concert in the park in 2024, an encounter that felt casual at first, but quickly turned into something much deeper. Amy, still healing from her divorce, wasn't sure she was ready for love again, but Brian convinced her to take a chance, and within weeks, the two were inseparable. Their connection was fast and intense, the kind of whirlwind romance that fans found both heartwarming and concerning. After just 5 months of dating, Brian proposed to Amy inside a haunted house in Henderson, Kenku, fulfilling her wish for a Halloween-themed proposal. The Gothic-style ring, with skeleton hands forming a heart, symbolized their shared love for the spooky and unconventional. Soon after, Amy and Brian adopted a pet snake together, lovingly calling it their baby. And by the time season 7 ended, the couple had moved in together, gotten engaged, and started building a life as a blended family with Amy's 2 sons, Gage and Glenn. Amy even began teasing her new business venture online, writing, "Be on the lookout for Amy Lover Creations," hinting that she might have already changed her last name, a subtle clue that their wedding might have already taken place off camera. The spooky wedding fans can't stop talking about. Amy's dream was always to have a Halloween-themed wedding. Dramatic, gothic, and unapologetically her. She even shared her vision publicly: a white dress with black lace accents, a corset bodice, a flowing princess skirt, and pink hair styled in a Victorian updo. It was bold, emotional, and uniquely Amy. Her fiancé, Brian, loved the idea, but not everyone in the family did. Tammy, in particular, opposed Amy's choice of venue, an abandoned asylum with a dark past. Tammy believed it carried negative energy and flat out refused to attend the wedding if it took place there. The disagreement caused tension between the sisters. Echoing their earlier struggles with understanding each other's boundaries and beliefs, despite the family drama, Amy was determined to follow her heart. Whether or not the ceremony took place in that eerie location, fans believe Amy and Brian may have secretly tied the knot in October 2024. If that's true, it could be one of the biggest storylines of 1000 Dalby Sisters Season 8, if TLC decides to renew it. Tammy's transformation continues, while Amy's love life has been making headlines. Tammy's transformation has been nothing short of inspiring. In Season 7, she finally achieved what many thought she never could: losing over 500 pounds and qualifying for skin removal surgery. Speaking to people, Tammy shared her emotions after 6 years and losing over 500 pounds. "I was finally approved for surgery. I was overwhelmed with excitement. I worked really hard for this, and now it's here." Doctors first focused on removing excess skin from her neck, chin, arms, and stomach, careful not to overstrain her body. The procedure was a success, removing more than 15 pounds of skin. The results were life-changing. Tammy laughed as she told producers, "It feels so weird. I don't have my hanging skin anymore. My bat wings are gone. My face looks different. It's going to take me a while to get used to this new me." But Tammy's transformation isn't over. Doctors have yet to perform surgery on her legs, meaning there's still another stage of her journey waiting to unfold, another chapter of strength, recovery, and rediscovery. The family's next chapter, if 1000 Dalby Sisters does return for an 8th season. It won't just be about numbers on a scale. It will be about identity, healing, and how the Slaton family adapts to a new phase of life. Amy's relationship with Brian continues to spark debate. While some fans are thrilled to see her happy again, others worry that her relationship moved too fast, especially considering her painful split from Michael Halterman. After what she's endured, viewers fear that another heartbreak could set her back emotionally. At the same time, Amy is learning how to balance being a mom, a partner, and a public figure. Her sons, Gage and Glenn, remain her top priority, and she's been open about her challenges as a single parent turned stepmother. Brian has stepped up to help, supporting Amy in raising her children and rebuilding her confidence. Meanwhile, Tammy's focus remains on her health, her emotional well-being, and her newfound relationship with her partner, Andrea. After years of struggling with isolation and depression, Tammy has blossomed into someone who finally seems to love life and herself. A story of resilience. When fans first met Amy and Tammy Slaton, they were two women defined by their limitations. Today, they are defined by their resilience. They've faced ridicule, heartbreak, medical emergencies, and loss, but they've never stopped fighting. Even as fame brought criticism and scrutiny, they've remained authentic, vulnerable, and real, a rare quality in reality TV. They've shown that transformation isn't just physical, it's emotional and spiritual too. And whether or not TLC decides to continue their story, one thing is certain: the Slaton sisters' journey has already inspired millions. From the junkyard scale to national television, from self-doubt to self-love, Amy and Tammy have become living proof that no matter how heavy your past, you can always lighten your future. Their story isn't over. It's just evolving. One day, one choice, one new beginning at a time.